Hey, welcome to our explainer. Today, we're going to break down the core ideas from a really powerful sermon by Pastor Oyewole on divine guidance. We're going to explore what it means to find the right path, all through a close look at Psalm 32. So, let's start with a question that, let's be honest, we've all asked ourselves. How do we figure out where to go in life without having to learn everything the hard way? Through a bunch of painful mistakes. Well, the source text we're digging into today gives us a really specific spiritual take on how to do just that.
Okay, so let's dive right in. These two verses right here, they are the absolute foundation for everything we're about to cover. You've got this incredible promise on one hand, and a pretty stark warning on the other. It really sets up a powerful choice.
So let's start with that promise in verse 8. The sermon points out three really distinct promises of guidance that are being offered to anyone who's willing to listen. So let's take a look at each one. The first promise is instruction. And we're not talking about some vague, fuzzy advice here. This means direct, clear directions for the specific journey you're on. Think of it like a divine GPS, telling you the next turn to take. The second promise is teaching, and this goes a little deeper. It's not just about directions for one trip. This is about learning timeless principles, gaining the kind of wisdom that helps you navigate any road you might find yourself on in the future. And the third promise, this one's really cool. It's to guide you with his eye. This is the most personal, the most intimate kind of guidance. That subtle, knowing look you can get from a parent or a close friend? That's the idea. It's guidance that comes from a deep relationship and paying close attention, not from force. Now, what's so interesting is that right after this amazing promise, the text draws a sharp contrast. It basically lays out this fork in the road for us, a critical choice between two very different paths. And here's that choice laid out plain and simple. On one side, you've got the horse's path. The sermon explains that a horse doesn't have understanding, so it has to be controlled by force, with that harsh bit and bridle, and it only learns through painful correction. But then there's the other way, the aligned path. Here, cooperation is willing, guidance is gentle, like that glance of an eye, and it's all built on a growing understanding. Okay, so that's the big question, right? How do we make sure we're on that aligned path and not the horse's path? This is where things get super practical. The sermon gives us 7 specific actions we can take. And here they are. Think of these 7 steps as a kind of roadmap. They start with the right mindset and then move into actual daily practices that help us stay aligned with that divine guidance. All right, step 1, and this is the big one, the foundation for everything else. We have to actively seek spiritual understanding. According to the source, this is exactly what separates us from the horse. It's about learning to see things beyond what our physical eyes can see, giving us clarity for the road ahead. So step 2 is about trust. And this isn't just about, intellectually agreeing that you should trust. It's about a complete all-in dependence and confidence, trusting with your whole heart, not just on the massive, life-changing decisions, but in all the little day-to-day stuff too. And check this out. This verse from Proverbs just nails it, right? It draws a straight line connecting that wholehearted trust and acknowledging him to the promise that he shall direct your paths. It's totally cause and effect. Okay, step 3 is all about hitting the pause button on our own smarts. It's about getting into the habit of stopping before we just jump in and make a decision based on our own logic or skills, and instead taking a second to actually ask for direction. Step 4 is all about fighting that urge to just go it alone. Just because a strategy worked for you yesterday doesn't mean it's the right one for today. The sermon points to King David. He wins one battle, but instead of just using the same playbook, he stops, he acknowledges God, and guess what? He gets a totally new strategy for the next fight. It's all about being open to fresh instructions. All right, step 5. Now, this one isn't a one-and-done kind of deal. It's an ongoing practice. It means having a reverential fear of God. And that's not about being terrified. Think more like a deep, profound respect and awe. And then deliberately, consciously choosing to stay away from harmful choices. And then there's step 6, which is, it's a pretty serious warning. It's that trap of thinking you've got it all figured out, of becoming arrogant. The source says this can actually cut you off from divine guidance. And it leads to making the same mistakes over and over because you've just stopped listening. And that brings us to the final step, number 7, be prayerful. This is the active conversation where you actually ask for and receive guidance. It's about asking for help instead of just running on instinct, asking questions, and then listening for the answers.
It's about choosing to rest in God instead of trying to control everything through worry.
Okay, so you do all this. You follow these 7 steps. What's the payoff? What's the ultimate outcome of choosing this aligned path over the horse's path?
Really, the biggest thing to take away from all this is that divine guidance isn't a one-way street. It's a partnership. It's not passive. You have to participate. It means choosing humility over trying to do it all yourself. And when you do that, the result is that you get those 3 amazing promises we started with. You get instructed, you get taught, and you get gently guided, all without the need for painful correction. And that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. If guidance truly is a conversation, a dialogue, then maybe the questions we choose to ask are just as transformational as the answers we're hoping to receive. So what's the one question you need to ask today?